the world champions haven't been afraid to change a winning formula in their attempt to repeat as Super Bowl winners. The biggest surprise of the summer was their signing of Chicago Bears linebacker Wilber Marshall. He becomes the highest paid man on Washington's roster with a contract worth $1.25 million a year. But he was certainly worth it in the preseason. Here, stripping the ball for Charles Mann to recover and score against Atlanta. Running back Timmy Smith, who made such an impact in the Super Bowl as a rookie, will continue to lead the Redskins' running game. Smith still has a lot to prove, but that one great game spelled disaster for veteran George Rogers, who was cut after 7 years in the league, the last 3 as the Skins' leading rusher. Doug Williams, the other star of Super Bowl 22, also remains in place at quarterback, hoping to play his first full season as an NFL starter since 1982, when he was with Tampa Bay. In the preseason, he's definitely looked the part.
Williams throwing deep in the corner, got a man wide open, touchdown, Washington!
Incredibly, former starter Jay Schrader, the hottest hand in the NFC 12 months ago, was relegated to a backup role, and he spent the preseason standing on the sidelines. He was an unhappy man and wanted out of Washington. Now, within the last 24 hours, his wish has been granted, and he's been traded to Los Angeles, and next weekend he'll be wearing a Raiders uniform. Other Super Bowl starters you won't see tonight are tight end Clint Didier, cut after 6 years and 3 Super Bowls, and kicker Ali Haji Sheikh, who missed nothing in the preseason but was waived in favor of a rookie, Chip Lowmiller, who missed often. A veteran with problems of a different sort is defensive end Dexter Manley. He's one of 14 players around the league suspended for violation of the NFL's drug code. Manley has undergone a course of treatment and will play tonight. But the biggest name of the Giants team, Lawrence Taylor, is also suspended and will not play. This time last year, Taylor was telling the media about his fight against drug addiction, and sadly he now finds himself in the same invidious position.
I didn't mess up a couple years ago. I didn't mess up 21 days ago in the bar. I didn't mess up then. I messed up more than 6 years ago. You know, and the first time you say no, to drugs, they say all the things they say no to drugs, great, but you don't realize it until you've been there. The first time you say no to drugs is great. The second time it becomes a little easier. But hell, the first time you say yes to it, every other time of that is you're gonna. You don't. It's just not one instance. You do drugs one time and you do it a second time. You pass from casual. You're an addict. And I've realized that. And I don't have to. I'm not worried about what's going to happen to me 30 days from now. I'll still be alive 30 days from now, hopefully. I'll still be able to walk out here and breathe the fresh air and still be able to hold my head about. But I'm worried about what's going to happen for the rest of life unless I get myself straight. That's what I'm worried about.
As if Taylor's absence isn't enough, the Giants' defense is also weakened by an injury to nose tackle Jim Burt. While Leonard Marshall and Carl Banks saw no preseason action, Marshall through injury and Banks because of a contract dispute, which was only settled last week. On offense, it's business as usual with Joe Morris and Phil Simms, hoping to erase the memory of last season's disasters and return to the winning ways of 2 years ago. They'll be given greater protection thanks to the brave return of offensive tackle Carl Nelson, who spent last year undergoing radiation treatment for cancer. They're also encouraged by the preseason exploits of 10-year veteran running back Otis Anderson, who shed the years to give the Giants another offensive weapon.
The opening kickoff to our coverage of the '88 season is only minutes away.
Of the Washington Redskins. And Williams going deep. Sanders. Smith wide open. 40, 30. And with that performance, MVP quarterback Doug Williams secured the starting position this year. But the champions did not stand pat in their quest to repeat. George Rogers was released in favor of Timmy Smith. The signing of all-pro free agent Wilber Marshall redefined the price of talent and the value of defense. And Dexter Manley, star pass rusher, returns tonight after a 30-day drug suspension. Pro Bowler Charles Mann knows the Skins' dilemma.
For the Redskins to repeat, we have to be able to deal with the outside circumstances and situations that come up better than any other team in the National Football League, and we've been doing that a lot in the 80s.
And as you can see, the first foot clearly out of bounds, but Doug Williams, no one can ever contest the quality of his throwing arm.
And again, good position by Perry Williams, whom they seem to be attacking here in the early going.
Now, Chip Lohmiller is the 8th man to kick a field goal for Washington in their last 27 games over 2.5 years, and the rookie is successful. On 3rd and 3, they send Clark in motion and bring him back the other way. Williams throwing incomplete, nearly picked off out of Bryant's hands and in and out of Kennard's hands as well.
Well, Kelvin Bryant was really wide open on that play, and Doug threw the ball a little bit too far back to the inside of the field. Kelvin really did a heck of a job just getting his hands on the football. Let's see if we can pick it up here. The ball's going to be too much back to the inside. Bryant's going to have to dive for it. You can see the effort he made and right through his hands, and Terry Kennard almost got a lucky interception.
You saw Hedden, number 54, perhaps forcing that errant pass by Williams, but in any event, the Giants are getting off cheap once again. This has been a Redskins first quarter, and if they can get out of this with just 6 points, they're going to be fortunate.
25-yard field goal attempt by Lohmiller is good out of McEwen's hold. So the Redskins settle for 3 more. 5:57 to play in the first quarter. 6-0 Redskins.
And a 4-yard gain is a 4-yard gain, but it also exacts some punishment out of a defensive team that always shows up in the second half when you're playing the Redskins.
3rd and a long 3 from the 29. Williams, and open down the far side is Sanders for the touchdown. Ricky Sanders, another of the record setters in the Super Bowl when he caught 9, including an 80-yarder, and Washington makes it 12-0 on a 29-yard pass from Williams to Sanders.
Perry Williams, again, appeared to be the victim, although it looked as though a 4-year veteran would know when he's going to get help on the inside. It looked like he wanted help from the inside and didn't get it.
Here they are at the top of the screen. Watch Williams come here, and then he makes a move to the inside, allowing Sanders to have a free run at the end zone. Let's take a look at it there at the top of the screen. He makes his move to the inside, and for some reason is just oblivious to the fact that Sanders is on the sideline. And for some reason, I don't know what it is, Perry Williams was thinking one thing and really not paying attention to the man he'd given an outside.
Big play right there on 3rd and 4.
And I think that goes back and just reflects what Doug Williams does best, the long throw.
Lohmiller on the extra point, which is spotted at the 15, and this place has become pretty silent because it's been all Washington.
The Giants out of the Los Angeles Raiders.
1st and goal. The Giants in this half have 7 first downs, 5 on this drive. Maurice Carthen is in as the blocking back, number 44. And he'll block for Morris, but what a play by Dave Butts.
Oh, man.
But a face mask of all things after the play by Butts breaking through the face mask.
And again, the Giants pull a guard in front of Dave Butts, thinking he can't catch a play. Take a look at this. The guard in front of Butts, the whole offensive line is pulling. And look at this, they don't think he can catch the play. And it's actually Riesenberg, the guard, who gets face masked on the play. It's not the ball carrier. Butts has a hold of Doug Riesenberg, number 72.
Everybody.
And then he gets Morris.
He just collected everyone in the area.
Well, this is steer wrestling here by Big Dave. Grab a handful, big guy.
And another first down for the Giants.
1st and goal with 56 seconds.
You know, these are uncharacteristic mistakes, wouldn't you say, though, Dan, Al, for the Redskins?
Very much so.
And they marched it off from the 10-yard line, half the distance down to the 5.
Right.
And you would notice that.
Well, I had the privilege of looking at a replay.
And Sims nearly gets sacked, and in fact, he was in the grasp and control of Olkowitz, number 52.
And Olkowitz timed that blitz beautifully. Neil Olkowitz. Take a look at Neil Olkowitz right here. Watch him make his move right up the middle. He times this beautifully. And there's no way that Phil Sims has a chance. Zeke's right behind Darrell Grant. That's Otis Anderson, or is that Zeke Moat? That's Zeke Moat coming in, trying to make the block, and just can't pull it off.
And again, Moat playing in a very unfamiliar position.
2nd and goal. Sims has it tipped away by Green, who goes high in the air to take it away from Manuel. Even if Manuel caught it, he would have been out of bounds at about the 9. It's 3rd and goal.
All-pro throw, though, by Sims. He knew he couldn't complete it, but he also avoided the pickoff. Monty Coleman is out there. There comes the guy they were really afraid of, Darrell Green.
What a play by Darrell Green. Times that one just as perfectly as could be. Goes up in the air and bats it away. Monty Coleman had a handful of jersey there for just the briefest of moments.
3rd and goal, 29 seconds. Giants have 1 timeout. Adams is in there, and the shotgun was Sims. Sims steps up, throws. Adams has it 6-yard line. It's going to be 4th and goal now. Wilburn makes the tackle, 18 seconds, and the Giants are going to send in the field goal unit. Raul Alegre, who had a very spotty preseason, and in fact his job in a little bit of jeopardy. They looked at McFadden, the former Eagle, this week. The Giants going to take a timeout, and they do. 5 seconds left in the half.
Not been able to get production from wide receivers, usually relying on their tight end, and in most cases over the years, last couple of years, Mark Bavaro.
Alegre, who missed 2 from 38 and 47 in their final preseason game against Cleveland last week, has a chip shot here. And puts it through. So as the half ends, the Giants at least come away with 3 on their only impressive drive of the half as they march down deep into Redskin territory. And at halftime at the Meadowlands, it's Washington 13 and the Giants 3. 1st and 10 from the 24-yard line.
And it ain't good when there's a minus in front of one of your numbers on your halftime stats. Minus 3 yards rushing for the Giants. I think that better than anything else tells you what kind of a game it has been up front for the New York Giant offensive line and their entire offensive team. That's from not here. I wonder what goes through a cornerback's mind when he hears that all-out blitz called in the huddle.
3rd and 10 from the 40. Look out to the backside. The ball is loose. It is intercepted by George Martin, and that would figure. George Martin, who's played more games than any Giant in history.
That's the first interception Martin has not returned for a touchdown.
And that's Pepper Johnson that comes on the blitz. Bill Parcells told us he was going to line Pepper Johnson up to the outside and have him try to be effective. The Redskins that time don't even block Johnson. Watch him come from the right side and hit Doug Williams just flush in the back. And the ball clearly not a pass. His arm was not moving forward at the time, and George Martin, as we talked about so many times before, in the right place.
Some of the things you lose in a play. Now watch Williams. He'll even try to make it look like a pass, even though he gets crunched. Now that's a pro.
The play, but as it was, Roberts, the left tackle, was effective.
2nd and 10. Sims, and he finds Morris, and Morris breaks a couple of tackles and adds 10 more down to the 22-yard line.
Those 10 additional yards were out of the frustration that I think Joe feels from the lack of finding any holes on the offensive running game, and he just puts his head down and he becomes the biggest man on the field right here.
What was Dustin Hoffman's movie, Little Big Man? I think this is an excellent example right here. Look at the balance and the power and the low body lean, keeping those shoulders low to the ground. Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator of the Redskins, this is a situation, a place on the field where he loves to blitz.
1st and 10 from the 22. Not this time. And the pass is off the fingertips of Manuel.
What a throw by Phil Sims.
Was that beautiful, and what an angle our camera had.
Wilburn is being pressed for a starting spot by Brian Davis. 2nd and 10 from the 22. And again, it's Manuel working on Wilburn, but Sims looks the other way and into the end zone, knocked away, intended for Zeke Moat.
At that time, the Giants wasted a good pickup of the blitz.
Shotgun, 3rd and 10 from the 22. Sims, flag is throw, and he hits Ingram for a first down at the 7. A marker is down, and Manley is in a scrap back at the 35. Manley and William Roberts, the takedown. Damian Johnson is right there. A two-pointer.
I think William Roberts was going to be the guy that was flagged for holding Dexter Manley to begin with. Dexter took a hard upfield rush, and it looked like Roberts dragged him to the ground. And look out, George Adams and Wilbur Marshall exchanging phone numbers.
Adams wants a piece of his paycheck. And the umpire took a shot as well that time, Ron Farish.
I think initially the problem was between William Roberts and Dexter Manley. And here's Roberts right here. Here's Manley. Watch the upfield rush and watch Roberts run him into the ground. The flag comes from the sideline, and that's normally the line judge who's watching the left tackle. You can see the tackle that Roberts puts on Manley right there, and the flag you can see being thrown at the bottom of your screen. But then another flag was thrown during the fracas. So we may have offsetting, or
there are more flags. There are 3 flags right now for starters, and I think 3 separate incidents as well.
Oh, here we go. Dexter has the face mask. Roberts in turn. Damian Johnson.
That flag is for Manley there. So you've got 1 down probably for the hold, 1 for Manley.
And you've got 1 on the 7-yard line.
Funny how we just saw Dexter on the sideline, obviously extremely frustrated. William Roberts, and there are more flags than officials. I'd like to know where a couple of these extra ones came from. They are everywhere. And I think, is that Dick Jorgensen with a bloody nose?
It could be. Ron Farish, the umpire, I know, went down.
Dick Jorgensen, it appears, has some blood on his lip. Somebody's bleeding.
Sure.
He sure does. It's a contact sport.
2 personal fouls on the defense, 72 and 66. Holding and a personal foul on the offense. All penalties offset. Will replay at the previous spot.
Let's watch the sequence once again. This was after the hold had been called. Manley just kept coming at Roberts, and reaches over, gets him by the face mask, and they get into it there. The flag is already down at this point, and Jorgensen caught it right on the beak.
I think William Roberts got him with a right. You could see Dick Jorgensen's hat fly off. William, not good. Not good getting a referee. These guys have long memories. So they pick them all up and just play it over again. And when you stop and think about it, that's really the easiest way to handle the whole situation. Ingram down on the turf, and look at Barry Wilburn come in for a shot. You could have called that a late hit if you would have felt like it.
Didn't have any more flags.
After all that, yeah, it's 3rd down and 10 from the 22. And so back we come once we started. And Sims running for a first down inside the 10 and out of bounds.
And Mark Bavaro made a block that gave him another 10 yards on Monty Coleman.
Bavaro does a lot more things than just catch footballs. He's a football player, complete in every way.
Well, he gave Sims the sidelines that time by throwing a block on Monty Coleman. And Phil Sims took advantage of it, and a good look at it here from behind the Redskins. No hesitation from Sims. He's going to run, and Bavaro's going to turn. Not much on technique as he actually trips and falls. Effecticity. I don't think that's a word, but it applies.
1st and goal at the 9. It's the first time they've converted a 3rd down in the game. And Sims throws it out of the end zone.
I say make a play again into the end zone.
Meanwhile, the crowd is taunting Manley, who was on the Redskins bench. Manuel goes in motion. Morris has a big hole and a touchdown.
Over Carl Nelson.
Behind
a big block by Moat.
And Carl Nelson, the guy that does make a block, goes into a pass protection mode and works downfield and screens off the outside, and Little Joe makes the cut for the touchdown.
Raul Alegre for the extra point as the Giants try to get within 3. Hostetler puts it down. And the Giants, who were down 13-0, now trail 13-10. Joe Morris had been stymied to this point. In from the 9.
A great call by the Giants, going on the draw and the delay. Joe Morris, that's the most daylight this guy's seen since training camp, and he converts it into a touchdown.
To snap it for Cox, standing at his own 1-yard line. McConkey to receive. This time the snap is good, and the kick is high and relatively deep, and McConkey has it at the 43-yard line. He gets by Branch. He gets by another man. He's got a blocker out in front of him. He's inside the 30, and he's pulled out by Cox, the punter, at the 21. And the crowd goes wild.
McConkey sold this to the right and then brought it back to the left, picking up his key blocks on the picket line. And Cox, who is in on the tackle. Now watch McConkey. He'll take it up towards the middle, and then he'll start to the right a little bit, bring it back there. And now his picket line is set up out here. You see it developing, and McConkey just turns on the speed. It's a good block out front from Sherwin, former Indianapolis Colt tight end the Giants picked up a couple of weeks ago. Phil Simms just put a little more on it than he should have just to get rid of it.
On 2nd and 10, Carson comes in to block man, and the pass is thrown and caught at the 16-yard line by Mark Ingram. He stayed in to the chagrin of Green.
Good block by Carson. That made that possible. As
well, he didn't get, you know, Frank, he's not going to get both feet in bounds, I don't think, but I think the referee on the sidelines, the line judge, is going to rule that Ingram was knocked out of bounds.
Well, if he is knocked out of bounds, both feet do not have to come down in bounds, and there is the contact by Green. Oh, that's a good catch. He could have got that foot down easily.
3rd down 3, Giants at the 15-yard line. Sims incomplete. Covering on the play was Marshall, intended for Bavaro. Almost got it on the ground.
Talk about steel on steel. Wilbur Marshall and Mark Bavaro going head-to-head on a pass route rather than blitz. Wilbur, boy, a good shot on the tight end, causing him to have a late release. And I'll tell you what, Mark Bavaro's legs just going out from under him, you have to think that he's still up in the air if he's been all the way through training camp. That's a rusty pass route right there by a receiver who hasn't had a great deal of practice.
33-yard attempt to tie it by Allegre. Perfect. And so the Giants, who scored at the end of the first half, have added 10 here in the 3rd quarter and have caught the Redskins with 3:55 to play in the 3rd quarter. 13-13.
From Williams. And, you know, even though they have to punt here, the Redskins, an effective drive. They move it outside their own 40 when they start back inside their 5.
And a bouncing snap and a block kick. Picked up by Flynn, of all guys. He's used to this. Touchdown. Reasons with a block. Flynn picks it up, and Flynn is in again, as he did last opening night against Chicago a year ago. A touchdown off a punt block.
Bad snap. Set that sequence into motion.
I believe Gary Reason's the guy with the block. Gary Reason's coming up the middle is the guy with the block, but Frank is right. It was a bad snap.
Mike Scully, I believe.
Watch to the right of the center, number 55, Gary Reasons. Takes it right off of Cox's foot. And Flynn, as Al said, is indeed used to this. And Al, can you believe you and I had lunch yesterday and sat and talked about Tom Flynn?
A year ago against Chicago in that opener, off a block by, as I recall, Eric Howard, Flynn picked it up and went in. And the Giants have now scored 20 unanswered points after Allegre's extra point to make it 20-13.
Again, Gary Reasons playing it smart, goes for the football, and Tom Flynn, the right man in the right place, a Monday night hero. Who can believe this? Up by 7, New York.
3rd and 20. Monk in motion. And over the middle for Clark. And he's hit by Williams, but he has the first down out at the 42-yard line. So Clark, who started out brilliantly, has been quiet, though, since the first quarter. Gets noisy again. A big play here.
Yeah, some great receiver. And Williams, again, going for all of it as he had to now on third down. Sits in there. He has plenty of time, and he's big enough to look over the mess, finds Clark. Clark knows he's going to just get hammered by guys that outweigh him by about 60 pounds. Concentrates, gets the first down.
And Perry Williams really hurting, so Sheldon White takes his spot, and he comes out to the near side now, one-on-one with Clark. And Monk goes in motion on first down from the 42. Let's see if Williams goes toward Clark. No, he goes underneath out at the 46-yard line to the tight end, Don Warren, stopped by Carson and Johnson. Spotted at the 47, gain of about 5. It'll be 2nd and 5.
Sheldon White, the rookie they have brought in, who now goes back out, and Williams comes in. But he is one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in the draft, and he's looked great defensively for the Giants. But he is teched back out.
He didn't look so great that Bill Parcells couldn't wait to get him out.
He got out of there fast. He's one of the fastest getting back to the bench.
Under 8 minutes to play. 2nd and 5. Williams hit by Johnson. Loose ball, live ball. Jim Burt with it. Jim Burt is in for the touchdown.
This stadium is going to go bananas. They love this guy.
Of all guys.
Give Pepper Martin the credit.
Oh, yeah.
Pepper Martin hit Doug Williams in the back and knocked the ball loose. Pepper Johnson, I say Pepper Martin.
Well, he hit him too.
He might have hit me too.
That was a gas house gang play, you bet.
Pepper Johnson, give him credit. He beats Joe Jacoby and hits Doug Williams in the back. You'll see Johnson come in from the left of your screen. He beats Joe Jacoby upfield. Doug holding the football for a long time. It's hard to hold it that long, and Jim Burt taking a page out of the George Martin playbook. Heads for the end zone.
Lawrence Taylor may not be here, but Pepper Johnson, Carl Banks, Andy Hedden, they are playing, well, if not over their heads, they're certainly reaching for a higher level tonight. They have played superb football.
Raul
Inspired.
Allegre.
And Jim Burt, with not the longest legs in the NFL, takes many steps to get to the end zone, but here's a look at it. At the top of your screen, look at Johnson spin to the outside and get around Jacoby. And watch these long legs churn to the end zone. Chop, 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 chop.
Well, he did come up with that wonderful play, getting it out of bounds inside the 1.
34-yard line. Williams pressured.
Oh, did Williams get crumpled?
Incomplete.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, it's, you know, there comes a point in time where you have to look at the ends and the means and whether one justifies the other.
Start thinking next Sunday.
I mean, Doug Williams just got bent like a pretzel on that play.
Sheldon White, we talked about him a moment ago, young rookie out of Miami of Ohio. Giants 3rd-round draft pick, and he is some kind of hitter, but he has great speed. And a 4.28 for the 40. Fastest in the draft, at least that was clocked by Bledsoe on the scouting combine.
2nd and 10.
Look out.
Pressure from behind, but he gets it off to Sanders down to the 23-yard line.
I'll do this very softly.
All right, here's Dan. Go.
This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Go ahead, Al. You keep going.
Any publication,
any rebroadcast or any other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the National Football League is strictly prohibited. And
pass the hat.
Get you a little music to play under that.
Yeah.
A little jingle.
Killing me softly with kindness.
This football game has been anything but soft tonight. The hot whirlpool may have a line for the guys waiting to get in it tomorrow. An extremely physical game between the Redskins and the Giants, and
an amazing turnaround.
Oh, the ugly monster changed locker rooms at halftime.
2nd and 6. Williams for Bryant. And it ain't over yet as Kelvin Bryant scores. And that comes with just 11 seconds remaining.
Playoff tiebreakers. Plenty of time. Good protection. And Bryant, who is a great receiver out of the backfield, he was that as well as a gifted runner in the USFL for 3 years with the Stars. Little circle pattern. Williams hits him right in stride.
Andy Hedden had the coverage initially, and you can see Andy lost his balance a little bit back in the secondary and wasn't able to come in and close on the ball.
Lohmiller's extra point is good, and his next move, or Cox's, depending on who kicks off, will be an onside kick.
Now,
They have Otis Anderson in there.
well, quite simply, what you do is you take the 10 people and put them up there, the 10 best pairs of hands on your football team.
Where's Jim Burt then?
Put George Martin up there. The ball come right to him, I'll guarantee.
Yeah.
The suspense of it all.
So Lohmiller, it has to go to the 45 now. And the kick actually comes to the 30-yard line and taken there by Kenny Hill, and he just runs out of bounds with it. And that'll do it. Giants, all they were concerned about was maintaining possession. Kind of an odd attempt there by Lohmiller. I'm not quite sure I understand what he was doing.
Boy, the special teams coach will go crazy because that'll go into the books as a negative yardage kickoff return.
Not sure that's quite what they had in mind.
Yeah, what in the world is that? A 24-yard?
Well, if you're going to do that, you want to get it up there high enough where you get your men down under it. Kenny Hill doing the right thing.
They'll try to wrest it from Sims here. This will do it. And the Giants make a statement. Super Bowl champs 2 years ago. In the cellar last year, they became the first team in history to win a Super Bowl 1 year and finish last the next. And the Giants have told the nation tonight, we are back.
And the winning on opening day troubles for defending Super Bowl champ continue. We showed you those graphics early about how tough it is.